Warning: the following games are played by a professional, and no games reviewed should be attempted to be played at home. Effects of playing these games may include a decline in mental stability and an unrealistic... Tell me, what do you want in an action-adventure game? I'd assume you want a variety of breathtaking locales to explore, while being able to fight intelligent enemies to make you fully utilize your arsenal. What do you want in a puzzle game? You'd want riddles that get increasingly harder to solve but never illogical, resulting in you having maximum satisfaction when solving them. Now, what would you want in an adult-orientated, romantic comedy, graphic adventure game / dating sim? That is literally the genre that Wikipedia has defined the game Plumbers Don't Wear Ties as, a game, if you could really call it that, best described as heavy rain without gameplay or likable characters. No, sorry, I would say it's more like someone doing a PowerPoint presentation, and every so often they stop the presentation so the audience can pick how the rest of the presentation plays out. Before you ask, I have not uploaded this video in 144p. This is how the game looks, and excepting the start is all played out in this slideshow format. The game starts off in full motion video, which, I mean, why they couldn't have made the rest of the game a video is beyond me, and begins with the love interest insulting the player by calling them perverts and saying that they are only playing to fornicate with her.
While you're playing with your little mouse, you can examine every inch of my body with those perverse, beady eyes of yours.
Sorry to burst your bubble love interest that I now immediately dislike, but blurry, low-resolution titties are not my preference. The cover of the game looks like the developers just found out how to change the font and color of the text, because every text/color combination in existence is featured on the cover, despite the fact that half of them completely blend into the background. On the back cover, the blurb to convince someone to purchase the game looks like it was just a list of things the developers wanted to add in the game. I know it's meant to detail what plumbers have, but plumbers have comedy, a good guy, and a bad guy. Doesn't work as a sentence. There's random color filters put over the slideshows, which leads me to believe that someone had just found out how to edit images, and maybe a conversation like this went down. I found out something crazy. You can add effects to images. That sounds cool. How about you show me?
Love your mother.
Ma, just drop it, okay?
No, I won't. Amy's perfect.
How in any way does that add to the game? It's a cool effect. Why not add it? Touché. The game's title doesn't make sense because the main character, John, a plumber, wears a tie for most of the game. Perhaps the game is trying to say plumbers shouldn't wear ties because that, wins or not, would be laughed at all formal occasions. Or maybe there's a deeper meaning to it all. No. There's no deeper meaning to anything in a game that has a poorly cropped panda riding a go-kart in the introductory credits. There's a narrator in this game, which doesn't make sense as the main character John is meant to be representative of me, and I do not have someone narrating my actions. I don't have a six-pack either, but that's beside the point. Halfway through the game, the narrator is replaced and seemingly done for a humorous effect.
But nothing funny is done with this change, and is completely out of place.
The only form of gameplay is choosing how the story goes, and somehow this simple part of the game is fucked up by the developer's incompetence. Every time you go through the options, you have this text read you excruciatingly slowly, and you need to wait until the voiceover has stopped until you can pick another option.
And away.
Note: you must be 18 or over to take a look at this decision.
It has a similar feel to when the slowest reader is required to read in class, and you've already finished the text, but they're still stumbling on the first sentence. The game has an underlying tone of homophobia. For example, at the start of the game, John's mother says to him, "I haven't seen you with a woman in ages." Faggot. You can get an ending where John becomes a couple with Thresher, James' boss, and the game just straight up tells you they can't be together and makes you re-choose your option.
You're not really that way, are you?
This game's acting is so poor that there were times I thought I was watching the start of a porno, and I would reach down to unzip my pants when I really needed to reach down to grab the controller to pick an option. In regards to the story, the game starts proper, with the most dramatic phone picking up scene in existence, where the music heightens and the camera shakes as John decides whether to talk to his mother or not. When he does decide to answer, the conversation revolves around John's mother telling him that this girl that he knows called Amy would be perfect for him, and she immediately contradicts herself by saying she hasn't seen him with a woman in ages. Next, we basically get the same scene where Jane's father tells Jane she needs to be married and makes the worst fourth wall break ever.
Why the hell aren't you married yet, Jane? In that last scene, that bitch of a mother told her son to have kids. Now I'm telling you, I want some too.
The two future lovers then both shower at the same time, symbolizing that they are meant to be together, as they do the same things at the exact same time. The game shows John naked, which, considering the fact that the game is marketed for men and how homophobic the game is, it's surprising, because I'm sure no one wanted to see John's hairy ass. The two then head off to work at the same time and meet at the same car park, where John seemingly pulls flowers from his ass to give to Jane, and Jane, deciding that she doesn't want to continue repeating his actions, goes off for her job interview. Between all this happening, we get introduced to the narrator, who tells us how to play the game, which was exactly what Jane had done back when the game was in full motion video. Jane's potential boss tells her she needs to get his "I haven't had sex since the 70s" penis out of his fat folds and show him what that mouth do.
Take your damn clothes off!
Regardless of what option you choose, Jane is already stripped down, and if you choose the option to do the boss, Jane pulls out handcuffs and a whip from, well, I don't want to know where. In fact, I don't want to continue recounting the traumatic events this game has made me go through. You can pretty much guess how the game ends with, yeah, you guessed it, credits. In conclusion, this interactive slideshow, because I'm never going to call it a game, has no redeeming qualities. Throughout its experience, you never get a break from it assaulting your eyes with its awful visuals, and your ears never stop bleeding from its school play quality acting and obnoxious music. What little interactivity there is in the game is more boring than selection on a DVD menu, because at least with selecting an option on the DVD menu, you get to watch anything that isn't Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. I can safely say this is the worst game so far, and here is the ordered list of games so far. If you still want to play this game, then have you been paying attention to this video at all?